Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to CVC So Podcast number 71. My name is Andy. I'm your host. Today we have the founder of FR Secure, Evan Francine, Executive Director of Security Studio Academy, Dave Tuckman. And last but not least, he puts the Don in Jordan, the treasurer of the Minnesota CVCISO chapter. He makes TikTok videos from his car, Jordan Money Darlington.
Happy to be here, Andy.
Today, we have a distinguished member of the CVCISO community joining us, Joe Moldenhauer.
Woo!
She is an associate security analyst and newly minted CISSP holder.
Congratulations!
Yeah.
A couple of quick items. The next CVCISO cohort begins January the 5th, 2026. Great opportunity to level up your skills in risk management, risk assessment management, and information security. And leadership, no prerequisites, no attendance taken, and amazing guest speakers. 11/6, we have a first-time collaboration between FR Secure and Security Studio Academy. It's an online presentation called The Secrets to Building a CvCISO Practice. Presenting will be Evan Francine, John Harmon, and Drew Becky. Amazing opportunity. For more details, please reach out. Discounts available. That is all for coming events. Take it away, ladies and gentlemen.
Andy,
I can't feel my legs.
you nailed it. You hit
I
the
can't feel my
ball
legs.
out of the park. Oh,
I think I blacked out for a while. What are we doing?
You might want to stand up, because sometimes when you sit on the toilet that long, that's what happens.
That's a good point. You lose your legs. Exactly. That's where
Hey,
it came
just
from.
to remove any doubt, can we add clarification that we are recording on Halloween? This
This is Halloween today.
Yeah.
Happy Halloween.
This isn't out Jordan.
Squeeze Jordan and something
Joe
spicy
and
will come
myself
out.
late
Right.
at TED meetings.
Well, this is awesome, man, because, I've said it before, like Fridays are a highlight for me, Friday mornings, because, when you get to sit around with a group of people that you respect and have a good time, and there's this mutual respect, I think it's like therapy. You know what I mean? We sit here for for people who don't know, behind the scenes, we sit here for a half an hour to an hour every Friday morning before we hit the record button, just catching up, shooting the shit. It's not scripted. I think some people, especially nowadays, the way the world sort of judges things so quickly, if you were to join this, you'd probably be offended by some of the things that we say. But if you come into this and just understand the motivation behind it and why we do it, you'd really appreciate it. You'd embrace just the release of all the stress of the week, because we're all stressed out. We're all dealing with hard things. When you're a vCISO, you're dealing with stress on a regular basis, and it comes in all kinds of different flavors, and you never know what you're going to get. It's unpredictable. I've had some customers that have been just a pleasure to work with, and then boom, something bad happens. There's a breach. Well, then, sometimes your true colors come out, during those times. I've also had customers that are completely irrational and very, very difficult to work with. It's not uncommon for us to work with anywhere between 5 to 15, maybe even up to 20 clients at the same time as a vCISO. So trying to keep all that stuff together, remember what meetings you're supposed to be at, who you're talking to. It can get stressful. So we come here on Fridays and we release and we get recharged for the weekend so that we can hit the ground running again on Monday. I just like flush the toilet. That's it too, though, man. It's like I dealt with so much shit this week. I got to put it somewhere, right?
Yep. Flush that away. Flush it away.
You got to hit the button, Dave.
So I'm really excited that Joe has joined us, because one of the things I think that listeners who can relate to who Joe is, and we're going to give her an opportunity here to share who she is, where she came from, what she's doing, how much progress she's made, all that stuff. If you can relate to that, you will find so much inspiration in it that you can do it too. I think a lot of people, there's a lot of imposter syndrome in this industry. There's a lot of people who think, well, I don't have what it takes to be this or be that. But if you understood how messed up my life has been over the years and how far I've come, the same is probably true with most of us. There's always shit that will tell you that you can't do it, but you can do it. And not only can you do it, you can be flipping amazing when you understand the value you bring to the table. So when I think of Joe as somebody who's authentic, in the game for the right reasons because she's got the right heart for this. There's always excuses. There's always doubts like, well, I'm not technical enough, or I don't have 15, 20, 30 years of information security experience or whatever. Those are all just excuses. Because the thing that Joe has done, I've said this before, like with wisdom, there's only three ways you can get wisdom. You can either get it through your own experiences with pain. Don't forget the pain. That's like the spice of the wisdom. If just experiences doesn't give you wisdom, it's experience with pain. So Joe could either go through experiences with pain, which then 20 years maybe makes a big difference because she's going to have to learn it the hard way. Another way you can learn wisdom is from sucking it in from other people who have already been there, who've already gone through this shit. We've already paid the dumb tax, right? Which doesn't make us any better. If anything, it makes us dumber because we didn't listen to other people as we went down the path and took all our own pain. And then you end up looking like this. The third way you can get wisdom, and this is a spiritual thing, is you can go to a higher power. You can ask for wisdom. My world view, I can go to Jesus and I can ask Jesus to give me wisdom. And I've gotten it that way in the past, but I can't think of any other ways to gain wisdom. So Joe, I think of you as a person you're like a sponge. You just take this stuff in. You've had your doubts. You've needed people to come alongside you and I think reassure you, and not fake, right? It's not like fake, like, no, Joe, you can do this. Even though you're always going to suck at it. No, you're awesome at this. And I'm so happy you're here. So Joe, tell the audience, tell the listeners where you started and share what you want to share. You don't have to go, you can go wherever you want, where you started and where you're at today and kind of what you've learned so far.
Now that is an introduction.
Wow. Right? Wow. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that a lot. I decided, I guess this whole thing started when I've been working in the casino industry since the late 90s. I've been a blackjack dealer and amongst many other table games. And in 2020 with the pandemic, every single casino light shut off. And that made me nervous because, I still have a mortgage and, bills to pay and things like that. What am I going to do? So I decided to go back to school and I decided to go for this information security and assurance. And my very first class was Intro to Cybersecurity. And from the very first assignment that I did on a term paper, which was ransomware in a fish tank in a casino, I was hooked. I mean, hook, line, and sinker. And I just embraced going back to college. And it took me 4 years to graduate, but I did. I graduated summa cum laude. I wrote so many papers on every single thing, and I learned so much. I put myself in experiences so that I could learn even more. And then I graduated. And a couple of months later, I was blessed, and I mean blessed, to hook up with FR Secure. And it has just been so fantastic being around all the genuine people like these. I feel like I'm with my peeps. Like I found my groove. I have never been so in love with an industry as I am in love with this industry. And all I want to do is try to make it better. So I just keep learning everything that I possibly can. And I know I'm very proud that I passed this exam, but I mean, my learning is definitely not done. It was just it's a stepping stone. And I'm excited to see where this goes and how many people that I can help protect, because I've seen and experienced some of that pain that you were talking about, Evan. And you're right. It's gaining that wisdom. When I first started working for FR Secure, I started working with Mr. Shithead here. Mr. Dave over here, Mr. Toilet Head over here. And I latched on to his wisdom and tried to just soak up everything that I possibly could. So I've started out as associate information security consultant, then changed to analyst. And now I'm working towards doing risk assessments all the time. And that I'm excited about because I get to find out and ask these questions and see what these people are doing. And I'm excited about this. So
That's awesome.
This is where I want to be.
Hey, on that journey, was there ever a time that you felt like giving up and it was getting kind of too hard? And if so, what kind of kept you going?
Yeah, because learning that stuff. I'm not a spring chicken. So, technology, I had to kind of learn it. You don't have technology. You don't deal with spreadsheets and stuff on a blackjack table. You just don't. So it took a while to kind of get through that, learn the technology, but I wanted to understand how a bit moved. And so I guess I used that as a determination instead of stopping. It's just, I want to know how it is, and I'm not going to stop until I know.
And then the thing that's so inspiring for me, hearing this is you're in this game for the right reasons. And that's where it has to start, right? You're here to help people, to protect people. You understand that this is a service industry first and it's a product industry second. And you embrace it, like you live it. And that has nothing to do with how much experience you have in the industry. Choosing to be in the game for the right reasons. And then you also, have surrounded yourself with a support structure. So then when you do have those bad days, when you do have those self-doubts, when you feel like you're not good enough, there are people around you that will tell you the truth, that that's all bullshit, that you do have it. Everybody's got it. There's a place for everybody in this industry. There's a place for the super technical people that can do the pen testing and, the R&D stuff and all that stuff. But then there's also the people. And actually we have less people. We need more people because people are the focus, right? This is all about people. So having people that can understand governance, how to work with people. And governance is one of those things that it's more art than it is science, right? When you try to put rules around people, you put the wrong rules around people, they're going to rebel, ignore, undermine. So, that's awesome. It's inspiring to me because, I've been in this industry for a really long time. And I think it's really easy for us to let our ego get in the way and be intimidating to other people, but truth of the matter is, if I had it all figured out, we wouldn't have such a broken industry right now. I mean, we would be in a much better place. You talk about learning. I'm learning every single day, obsessively so, and it's not just security. Right now I'm learning Spanish. I'm learning piano. I read a minimum of an hour a day. I'm learning right now, how to code better, so most of my day is spent learning.
It's important to be
It's
a
so
lifelong
fun.
learner, like I appreciated you bringing that up too, Joe, because it's like, even if it's not learning something new, it's just understanding that, like, even stuff that you used to know or that you think you know, there's always room to kind of learn more. And maybe the way that you think is the best way to do it, maybe there's new ways to do it. So, never kind of firming up on an opinion or a way to do things, to not allow new information to come in to make it better, I think is a super great skill to have.
Well, and before we opened this, podcast, we were talking about, how men and women, think different, and how, men, just people from different backgrounds, we think different, right? It has nothing to do with like skin color, gender. We twist things around so weird. It's just, if you are different than me, like white, black, whatever, you can be a white person with a long beard and tattoos just like me, but you grew up in Philadelphia. I grew up on a military base in Quantico, Virginia. That's a different background. And the value in other people's perspectives, I can't overstate it. It's so important to get other perspectives. If you want to be the best vCISO you can be, the best security person you can be, the best father, the best mother, the best anything that you can be, you will appreciate other perspectives because context leads to better decision making. So rather than feeling, threatened by somebody else who's in this industry who talks whatever the hell they talk and whatever, because I think a lot of times we do this ego thing, this intimidation thing because we feel threatened. I still want to be relevant in this industry or whatever the hell, the reason is. Twist that around. Joe brings a perspective that I will never have. That's the value that Joe brings to the table, not how well she can hack shit or how well she understands how TCP/IP works or how bits move. It's the fact that she has a different perspective,
Mm-hmm.
which makes me a better security person, especially when I'm dealing with people. Like I wouldn't go to Joe to tell me how to code. That's not the
No,
value she brings to the table. But everybody brings value to the table. So try to figure out, invest time in Joe to find out what value does she bring to this table.
That's a great segue to something I wanted to get in with Joe, is because early on meeting Joe, she brought something up to me that I thought was genius, and I loved it so much. And so Joe, you have been, I'm not sure how long you've been doing this, but you've been contributing to, there's a publication that FR Secure puts out like that shares news stories. Is that right?
yeah,
What's that
it's
called?
our projecthyphy.com. It's our threat hunting page.
Awesome. Yeah. And you shared your perspective on it as you're finding these stories. You always do something. Can you explain that to everyone else?
I always like to find the dirty, rotten attackers and show how they've been caught and make it one for the good guys.
So you always leave one, there's
Just
always at
one
least
hacker.
one story in there.
Sometimes it's one hacker at a time. Sometimes it's a group of attackers, but it's always for the good guys. So I usually try to find one of those kind of haha, you can run but you can't hide kind of stories.
I thought that was brilliant because it's like there's so much fatigue in all these breach stories and over, just bad news, bad news, bad news. And to make sure that there's at least one bright light of, hey, guess what? There's one for the good guys here. I thought that was awesome. And I would
Yeah.
love for you in some time that we have left to even like maybe chat through one of or two of the recent ones that you found if we have time.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
We
Well,
can
there's
do
always
that.
like good things. I think you're right, man. It feels negative some days, and some days, because I've been here before, you ask like, well, what's the use? We're losing. We're getting our asses handed to us. And that's true. We are. As an industry, as good guys versus bad guys, yes, we are getting our asses handed to us. So you look for the little, seemingly little, on a global scale, a global context, these victories. And we just talked about a victory right here in our own team. Joe Pastor, CISSP.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it's like, with the circles, right? Jesus, my wife, my family. I can only influence what I can influence. You know what I mean? And so celebrating those things within your family, within your friend circles, and then those things, I think, give you the courage to continue to fight, the good fight. Now, Dave, you and Joe mentioned that one of the first people that she had the opportunity to work with and as part of her support was you.
Mm-hmm.
So kudos to you. Tell me about your relationship, and if you can, share some of the stories of like how you helped or how she helped you. You know what I mean? Just share a little bit of that.
Yeah. Well, and Joe, how long have you been at FR Secure now?
I started the end of May, first part of June of 2024.
Okay, so we've known each other coming up on about a year and a half,
Yes.
because that's really when we met. And I remember when we first had the opportunity to meet and kind of started talking and getting to know each other, just as people. And immediately the quality of your character just shined through. I mean, that everything orbited around that. And I thought the world of you as a person. And we would have the opportunity to kind of talk about where you were at, just being newer in the industry and all of the kind of overwhelming thoughts that come with that can be really heavy. And I remember, so if that was April, May-ish, really the first time we had a chance to talk was at the company party in June that year. And it was partially because, I mean, you're there's 100 plus people and you know very few of them. So you're kind of working the room, but just through that, I could always see who you were and a desire to learn and just a consistent, we talked about it earlier, being a life learner, but just always focused on how could things be better. And whether it's helping a client or yourself or someone on the team, I just, it was just important to me as a friend to you to want to be there for you as much as I could be. So when you did have those questions or different things came up in different ways, I remember even just taking the time of helping to look at an elevator pitch, of who you were, because the first work interaction that Joe and I had was she would shadow me on calls with clients. And Andy will attest, I'm pretty much I want to have you be front and center. You're part of this. You may be shadowing, but we're all there and we can all add value. And I remember going through all of that and just having the opportunity to be there for you. And where I'm kind of going with it is we look at the trees more than the forest. And so here we are in less than a year and a half of everything that you've learned, the promotions that you've received. You took had the initiative to take the CvCISO program, the course. You learned a lot from that. You got certified and you're participating in the Minnesota chapter. So there's been all of that. And as recently as yesterday, with you passing the CISSP, I just want you to take a moment, exhale, and look at the body of work that you've accomplished in less than a year and a half. And it's amazing. It's amazing. I'm so happy for you, so proud of you. That it's just awesome. And ironically, I'm here with the toilet on my head on Halloween, and the day after the CISSP.
It's not just on Halloween. I mean, come on, let's be.
What's that?
He wears it from
It's
time to
not just on
time during the
Halloween. I
year.
mean, come on.
Okay, yeah, that's true. It's in May, and
Yeah, the last 3 one-on-ones we've had, you've been wearing that thing.
yeah. But it just, Joe, I appreciate you as a person, and anything that you have accomplished and continue to professionally is a byproduct of who you are as a person.
When we've seen over the years consistently people come into FR Secure, come into our industry that don't fit the typical blueprint
Mhm.
to be in this industry. And that's the thing. There is no blueprint in this industry. We've always believed, and I still believe, and I think everybody should believe, that you hire people for the intangibles, not the experience. We can teach you how to do these things. It's not rocket science. What I can't teach you is how to be a good person, how to have a great attitude, how to be in this game for the right reasons. You can't teach those things. And we've consistently seen, I mean, the list is pretty extensive, the number of people that this has proven out to be true. And Joe is a perfect example. Joe brings so much value to the table, and she's focused on the right thing, which is to provide value to the customers that she serves. Everything else will fall into place. We've had this saying for a long time: you focus on the mission, you'll make money. If you focus on the money, you won't make the mission. And she's so mission focused, and so are you, Dave. You're so mission focused that these things just take care of themselves. I remember the first time that I met Joe was also at that company party. One of the things with her is that she stood out immediately. She hunted me down.
Mm-hmm.
She made herself known. She introduced herself. And and I don't know how much I don't know how hard that was for her or not. Maybe that's just natural for her. But for me, if I were to try to emulate that, that would be very difficult, I think, for me to do. But she stood out. She made herself stand out. And I think for the value for the listeners, other than us, heaping praise upon Joe, is what can you learn from this?
Mm-hmm.
What things about Joe make her great and greater, right? I said earlier on, like she's on her upswing big time on her career in the information security industry, regardless of spring chicken age, any of that other stuff. She's going very fast. Where's the limit? Where's the sky's the limit. Whereas you look at my career, and it's just a matter of time, right? Careers don't. You get old, for crying out loud, right? I don't have priorities change, whatever. I'm so happy because she's up. And when you're, at this part of your career, when you start kind of like, I'm not going to get another, I mean, my career just doesn't progress anymore. You know what I mean? You got to be honest with yourself. So what you try to do is the same thing as like I try to do as a father, right? This next generation, I want them to go past me. That's how we make things better in this industry. Not be the barrier and like, well, what the fuck do you know? What the hell do I not know? So that we can, keep progressing and pushing her forward. And I think the same thing for CvCISO, people that want to be a vCISO who don't think they have it in them, that, with all kinds of excuses. I think being a vCISO is one of my most rewarding parts of my career because I got to help people. I
Mm-hmm.
got to interface with people. I got to see the positive changes we were making in their companies and in their careers. So if you want to be a vCISO, I think ask yourself why you want to be a vCISO. If you want to be a vCISO so you can get rich at the expense of other people, don't come here. Don't. That's not the right reason. And that might be what the reason starts as, and it changes. Like, oh, okay, I had the wrong reason. That's cool. Because the people that are in this industry to take advantage of other people, I want to identify who you are and put you out of business. That's the honest truth. If you want to be in this industry, if you want to be a vCISO because you want to make a rewarding career where you can go to bed every night knowing that you had a positive impact on somebody else's life, I want to talk to you. And you will make plenty of money, right? It just depends on, how things go, but you will go to bed every night and sleep well, knowing that you never took advantage of somebody to establish a fantastic career. In terms of skills, you can learn that shit, but we can't teach you the intangibles.
Well, going back to you made a great point on like some of the lessons learned here, because I do think that there's a lot of them. With Joe, I mean, you're thinking about like a year and a half, and that's just, I mean, that's a short amount of time, and I feel like I've known Joe forever, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
wow, and I think one lesson that I see is like uh putting yourself in situations to take advantage of opportunity. Like the opportunities are out there, but you got to put yourself in front of them, and you got to go get them, and you got to be prepared when you get there. And so what I see is that in a very short amount of time, she made a decision to change, to get into a new industry, to soak up everything that she could, to find the right people to talk to go up to them and shake their hands and learn from everything, and then strike when the iron's hot, you know?
I mean, and isn't that inspiring? I mean, even 30 flipping years in this industry, like that fires me up, man. I mean,
Yeah.
I want to go work some more because I look at somebody like this who inspires this.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's priceless because we need more of that in this industry. We need more people to have confidence in themselves, in their purpose to go for this. We need more VCSOs. We need more good VCSOs. And I don't give a shit if you don't have to take the CVCSO, whatever. There's lots of ways to do this. The reason why the CVCISO is so valuable is we take you through the fundamentals and we instill the purpose behind it throughout. You can get the purpose in other ways, but the good VCISOs, yeah, let's support each other. Let's embrace each other. Let's grow each other. The shitty VCISOs, let's either change them or get them the hell out of the industry. We don't need you. You're making the problem worse. So, Joe is like the epitome. She's like that next generation of like, and there's lots of people. Because another thing that's inspiring, she's a woman. I don't know if you noticed that.
Jazz
We need more
hands.
women. We need more women in this industry.
That's
Not because
right.
they're women, but because of their perspective they bring. You sell them out when you think you're going to hire a woman just because she's a woman. That's bullshit. You just cut out all the value. The value is the perspective. It's what they bring to the table. That's awesome. And we need more of that shit. We need more people that change careers in this industry.
Yeah. To
Right?
that,
I don't need people that came through the security, got their master's degree, PhD, and security bullshit. What I need is somebody who's just real, authentic, because it's inspiring.
That's what heroic
Kevin,
hacks did for me. Is it inspired me, and that's what inspired me to even start studying for a certification. Is heroic hacks, and being in that room with all of those women, feeling that energy, and we were all in it for that right reason. Wow, I mean, that lit a fire under my ass like nobody's business. And I just took it. And I'm like, okay, that's right. I can do this too. Everybody puts their pants on one leg at a time. So if they can do it, I
Well,
can do it.
well, here's the
Yeah.
thing. Not only can you do
oh
not
yeah,
only can you do it, you can do it better. You can do it better than me. You know what I mean? Because we put so much stake in like, well, he's got all this experience and he's done all these things. Who gives a shit? One of the ways you can learn wisdom is from gaining it from somebody else that you respect, right? So instead of you going through the pain, you can take the wisdom, and that's what you've surrounded yourself with, is people that are willing, that want to empower you to take it further, right? If we took people in this industry and grew them only to the point of what we know, we failed. You're better. You're going to be better. You look at Megan, right? Another person who's very, if you know Megan's story and how she got into this industry, and oh my God, she's better. She's going to be better. And there's nothing wrong with that. We should embrace that shit. You know what I mean? Like I said, my career is here. I'm not getting any fucking better. I peaked. You know what I mean? It's like that, it's like an athlete. You know what I mean? I'm 45 years old. I can't hit home runs anymore. So either I could be a coach, and so you've kind of switched from being player to coach. And part of being a coach is like inspiring your team, motivating your team, making them believe the truth. And the truth is, you're just getting started. Even in a year and a half and you've done all that shit. Holy crap. I got my CISSP in 2005, but I started in this industry in 1990. So it took me 15 years to get my damn CISSP. You know what I mean? And
no,
look at you. It's awesome.
Was it around back then in 1990?
Well, let's not talk details. Just
yeah,
it's
top that. Joe.
Just ask me.
No,
took 15
one
years.
thing I want to just contribute is because everything we're talking about is reminding me of something that a mentor told me. And what he had said was that he goes, when I'm considering hiring somebody, I need to know how they are outside of work, because who they are as a person, as a partner, as a parent, as a spouse, as a member of a community, that tells me what they're going to bring to the workplace. And it always even if it's not front and center in my mind, it's deep enough that I'll pick up on it. And that would be one of the things that really shined through with Joe as well, was
That's
just
good. That's a good point.
understanding who she was as a person and realizing if you take that quote unquote body of work, how it can be applied with, like you said, Jordan, being given those opportunities
Yeah.
and
And
all
we
the
talked
product of that.
we talked prior to the show too about the importance of like second chances, third chances, fourth chances. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
We're all people in this game. And so, you'll make mistakes. I've made more mistakes in my life than I've made good choices, for sure. I've broken more things than I've fixed in my life, for sure. I'm not afraid to break things though anymore because I've learned how to put things back together again. And there's so much learning in doing that. Like if you want to be a technical person, like if you really want to know how to be a technical person, break everything and put it back together again. Break your router, break your network, break your computer, break your disk drive, break everything and put it back together again. Now, you'll find some people that gives them like anxiety. You're like, no. Well, then maybe that's not your thing. That's cool. But that's what it takes. I mean, that's how I learned everything. I didn't take classes. I broke stuff. Well, that's part of the ADHD and partly because my parents didn't spend enough time with me.
Mhm.
That's a whole nother wound that we're not going to get into. But I want to finish this off. Because we've been talking a lot. And I know I do this, and it's one of my things I need to work on is I get passionate about it. It's not because I want to walk all over what other people are saying. It's just like, I want to get this out because I think it's really cool and I love it and shit like that. But I want to hear from Joe. I want to close this out by hearing from Joe. Joe, I want you to give us, these guys, the listeners, give us some advice. Give us some advice on whatever you want to give us advice on, like how you got to where you're at, how you overcame some of the obstacles and challenges that you got through. Any advice that you think is going to be helpful for somebody either who wants to get in this industry, somebody who's a woman who wants to get in this industry, somebody who wants to switch careers and get in this industry, somebody who's been in this industry for a long time that forgot what it's like to be new in this industry. Give us any kind of advice that comes to mind.
Wow. Feels like such a big ask there.
Yeah, any advice though. I mean, start anywhere you want.
Okay. I have always been a single mom and I've always worked in a job that, at the casino industry, it's a job that doesn't matter and I learned that when we all shut down during COVID. My job did not matter. And pivoting my life from that world, and moving into this world has just been eye opening and life changing. But it helped guide my learning how to have self-discipline. And you really, truly have to have self-discipline. The days that, I had to study because I couldn't go out and do things. I had to stay home. I had to study. I know what I had to put into it. And we all know what we have to put into something to make ourselves feel more successful. Every single assignment that I got during college was what my second job was. That was what I focused all of my research on. I put 100% into that. But you have to have that self-discipline in order to do that. You can't have those squirrel moments, I guess you could say, where you have to do something and then you're like, oh, squirrel, I think I'm going to go shopping instead. I had to really learn self-discipline because it was so easy for me to squirrel before. And I still find myself wanting to squirrel and having to reel myself back in. But it's
So
that
that's hard to do, right?
it
So
is. It's very hard. It's
why
like an addiction
why did you
quitting
choose to do it? Why did you choose to do it in the first place?
because I needed to prove to myself that I could. Like nobody can tell me no, I can't. I can and I will and I do. And I'm going to learn it no matter what you want to think about it. I'm going to learn about it.
So do you
And I
feel
don't have to
is it
share it. I just have to know it.
is it safe to say that you feel like you've got a purpose behind what you're doing? Like because I see a lot of people in my life, in my family, go through the motions. And I don't think they stop to ask why. Why am I doing this? What's the purpose behind it? Do you feel like you have a purpose today that you didn't have when you were working in casinos?
100%. Do you want my short-term purpose or long-term purpose?
I'll take the listener, whatever.
Yeah,
It's
whatever you want
your
to share.
stage.
All right. My short-term purpose is to be able to help as many people as I possibly can. And working with the clients that we work with, they have a lot of employees, which allows me to reach as many people as I possibly can, just being this one person behind a monitor. So that's what I really, really love. And learning and showing and being able to coach people and guide them in the right direction and not sweep ethical responsibilities under the rug and gloss over it. I think that is my purpose is guiding people in the right direction. So
So your purpose,
that's one of my term.
what's your long term?
My long term is to be able to help the olive grove farmers in the western side of my island by teaching them ISC, PLCs, and SCADAs, and fog computing, and things like that. That's my long term purpose. So, just getting the CISSP, it means a lot over there, more so than it does here. And so that lends to my credibility to be able to open the doors to go talk to those farmers and show them what technology can do for them, because a lot of the younger generations are moving on because the technology hasn't quite caught up. So they're bored living there. So I want to be able to keep the kids back home and take the hard work, backbreaking work of the olives off of the older generations by allowing these technologies to come into place so that they don't have to sell out to a corporation and they're able to keep their land in their families. So
Look at
that's
that.
my
That's
Wow,
long-term
cool.
purpose.
that's great.
I'm so glad I gave you the stage because man, that's awesome. I could get behind that shit. You know what I mean? That's like
Dude,
that's the that's the purpose. How important, in your opinion, when you have to go through these, the road is bumpy, right? And it's supposed to be. Like the thing about comfort, and my dad actually taught me this. He said that comfort is an idol. He said you should be afraid or fear comfort. And I was like, what do you mean? He goes, comfort means you're not growing. Comfort means you're not making a difference. Comfort, the goal should not be comfort to be comfortable. It's kind of a false goal, right? But you said that you have this mission, this purpose behind it. How important was this purpose when the road got bumpy for you?
it helped, boy. Let me tell you, it helped. That why, boy, thinking about that why is definitely a fire under your ass, because if you really can get strongly behind that why, man, you can move things like you never thought you could move. You can learn things you never thought you could learn. You can accomplish things you never thought you could. I was recognized in Washington, D.C. for something I did on a whim. And I'm like, how did I end up here? But I mean, it's that why, that lighting that fire. And it was kind of an incredible experience, but that why, that's what motivates you. That's what allows you to use that self-discipline. And I'm not an addict, but I would think that you could associate that getting that self-discipline of every day staying sober. And it's that
Right.
every day, that self-discipline of doing better than you did
Well,
yesterday. Like, I love working.
and that's one of the things I think that, I'm always looking for common denominators with the people I work with or people I have relationships with. Like, what is it that keeps us, that connects us? And what's the common thing that that we can align to and accomplish shit. And you know, compare that like with like US politics, right? Like holy shit, they do the complete opposite.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's how you make a difference. You know, I look at when you said how important the why is, you know, and the purpose. It's the same thing for me. This is a common link between us, right? That the purpose, the why is what keeps me going. There have been many, many, many days, countless days where I don't want to fucking keep going anymore. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I'm frustrated. I'm burning out. I don't give a shit. But then the purpose comes back. The why. You think about, okay, but I'm not done. I'm not done with the purpose yet. I got to get up, even if I don't want to get up. And I'll be rewarded for it somehow, some way. I don't know. But it's that purpose that motivates. And I love that because when you identify these common links with people, then you can pour into them. It's like this trust. Okay, I love that purpose. I want to give to that purpose. I want to enable that purpose. So I think a lot of people, if you're thinking about getting into this industry, they don't think about purpose. They don't think about why because it's kind of countercultural, right? Not a lot of people talk about this, but I noticed that the why wasn't money, that I want to get rich, that I want to get famous. Tell me, do you believe, and I'm just postulating, do you believe that if you focus on the mission that money will take care of itself? Is that where does that fit in your, you know?
I guess I've always just looked at my purpose. I guess money to me is, yes, it's nice. Yes, it pays my bills. I've learned how to do that. I've learned how to be self-sufficient. I've been a single mom for, well, my kids are 27 and 28. So I've been a single mom this whole time. I've learned how to deal with all of that and put the kids through college. So I guess I've always learned how to be self-sufficient. I've never really stressed about it. And it's always worked itself out. So it's not something that I focus on. I focus on doing what I want to do and learning what I want to learn on. And then things just have a way when you are positive about something and you're passionate about something, things just have a way of working itself out no matter what. They just do. And if more people could understand that, and if more people could embrace that, I mean, think of how much better we could be. Like, I would not have as many dirty rottens, you know, for the good guys to catch. There's a
You're so
lot of
right.
brilliant brains out there, but they want the quick buck. The quick buck and the shortcuts aren't going to do you any good.
Mm-hmm.
You
No,
have to fight the
no.
battle, but you got to go through the scars. You got to go through the pains. You got to go through the navigating. If you
See,
don't, I mean, you'll never appreciate it.
you're smacking down some serious wisdom up in here, man. I mean,
Real.
I'm
Learn
like,
from the
and it's
best.
no, no, no. I'm learning from you too. I've never known what it's like to be a single mom and raise kids like you have. That's like, holy shit. Like this lady knows what the hell she's talking about. I've said you need three things to keep customers in this industry: trust, credibility, and likability. You have credibility that I don't even think you understand that like exceeds like, holy shit. Yeah, that's more inspiration for people that think that they can't get in this industry for whatever reason. But I like that we dug in on how important purpose is
Mm-hmm.
because I don't think that's not, I don't, that's not just, it's not exclusive to information security. It's not exclusive to being a VC. So it's life. If you find your purpose, I don't care if it's a dentist, a doctor, a furniture installer, a bartender, a garbage collector, you can't let the world tell you what your purpose is. You have to find what your purpose is. And then once you serve that purpose, you will be the best you can possibly be at that thing. And so you found your purpose here. And I'm very grateful for it because it's very powerful. You're going to serve so many customers, you're going to help so many people. And I can see that how eventually you're going to serve that long term purpose because you surrounded yourself with people that are bought in on purpose. And we want to help other people achieve their purpose. So, man, kudos to you. That's huge advice, and I'm glad we gave you the floor because I'm like, damn, that's some golden nugget right there.
I also
Wow.
see the connection with, you kind of said things have a way of working out, but man, I also think that you went out and got it though. Like you had to, like you made it happen. Like as a single mom, like I learned how to be self-sufficient. Like you can just sit around because things have a way of working out for people that are working things out.
Yeah, well, yeah, you have to work, right? You have to work. You can't sit around and be comfortable. You got to go. And where are you going to go? Which direction are you going to go? You could go left, but if your purpose is calling you to go right, you're wasting your time going to the left. You should be going to the right. So spend less. I mean, we only have a limited number of days on this planet. Like, stop wasting your time going down paths that aren't serving a purpose.
Hmm.
And one of the things I've also learned about purpose, and Joe, you can correct me if you feel differently because I think your perspective is super important. But when I'm focused on my purpose, it also drives my level of what content means in my life, right? My purpose is to fix the broken industry. And that's what I work on every day. It seems very abstract, but when you take it down, and it was to me too, but when you break it down into its little components, you start building things and making things like the CVC So program, the CISP mentor program, whatever, Project Broken Mirror, the list goes on. Just pick a problem and go work on it and then focus on it, obsess about it, get it done. Then when I feel like I'm serving my purpose, the money thing, it's secondary, but it drives my level of contentment. If I feel like I'm serving my purpose really well and I'm working hard, whatever money I get is the money I get, and I'm happy about it. I don't want any more money, which is so crazy because when you talk to like the world, like, what do you mean you don't want more money? I don't want more money. I'm a shitty investment. The more money you give me is less money you can give to the mission. And the mission is what matters. I'm already making enough money. So it's like, and I think people that are getting into this industry, if sometimes you think that the mission or the purpose is, I need to make a living, I need a good career. That's true. You do need money. We all need money. But what comes first, right? If you're getting into this industry and you don't have a purpose and it's all about the money, that's short term. When the days get tough, it's going to get tough. It's also a huge, I think there's a big chance that you're going to sell out, meaning that you're not going to do what's best for customers and companies because it's about money. So you'll be able to justify in your mind why you sold the customer something that they didn't need. You'll be able to justify that. And justification is nothing more than an excuse, right? It's still bullshit. But whereas if
Peanut
you
butter.
lead with this purpose, you will make money. Trust me. But get them in the right order. You don't go with money and then try to figure out what the purpose is. Start with purpose and then figure out what the money will be. Because I've seen a lot of people in this industry over the years that I think were fantastic people. They still are fantastic people. They got in this industry originally, it seemed like for the right reasons. It was to serve people, it was to help people. But then when the money got big, it got addicting and they sold out. And it all became about the money. That was the purpose, which then you have to question what the original purpose was at the beginning. So I think shitty purposes, money, ego is a shitty purpose. If you came into this because because we got a lot of people who get on the big stages at Black Hat and, the big conferences, and it feels good, right? To stand up there and preach and everybody's just like, yeah, good job. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're serving the wrong purpose, the purpose is your ego, there's something wrong with that.
Hmm.
So anyway,
I
Joe,
agree.
you get me fired up, girl, because,
Right
and
on.
I've been in this, and I'm old and
Yeah.
I've been in this
Fired
industry.
up.
I've been in this industry so long. It's like, oh, I haven't, because that's the bullshit, right? Like, oh, you've learned. I've been told, multiple times that I've forgotten more about security than you will ever learn. That's not what I've said. Other people have said that to me. I'm like, you have no idea what the fuck I've learned, and you have no idea what I'm still learning. Because I'm learning every single day. And when people like you share your piece, you just made my day better. You made my career better. So maybe I'm not going down. Maybe I stood a
Oh.
little bit more up.
Yeah. And that just touches on what I had the opportunity to share earlier from a mentor where they said, I just need to know where the person's at in life, what they've done and everything you just shared there, Joe, is a testament to that.
Yeah.
Now we can't wrap up without a happy ending. So do you want to share the dirty rotten, the last
Yeah, do you
recent
have a
dirty
happy
rotten?
All
ending?
right. Yes. All right. Let's start with the last one that I did it was a couple weeks ago now. All right. This is the Power School hacker. He got sentenced to 4 years in prison. This kid is a college student from Massachusetts. He's 19 years old.
Yeah.
19.
Kid.
And he was sentenced to 4 years in prison for a 2024 attack on Power School that exposed data of more than 60 million students and 9.5 million teachers globally. So using stolen subcontractor credentials, because that's what they do, Lane and his dirty, rotten accomplices accessed Power School systems. They stole sensitive student and faculty information, and then they demanded $2.85 million in Bitcoin. That's a lot. I think that's a lot. So even after Power School paid to stop this leak, the group continued to badger the individual school districts for even more ransom money. So they just got greedy.
Yeah.
And there's more. The story continued when the Texas Attorney General took Power School to court, and that demonstrated how just one single breach can leave lasting marks on both reputation and regulations. So
Yeah.
that's that dirty, rotten 4 years. But he's only 19 years old, and I'm finding a lot of these dirty, rotten stories. They're 19, 20, 21, 22 years old. I'm like, wow, there's so many other things you can do with
Right.
your life. If you're
Yeah.
smart enough to do this, you're smart enough to do that. I get a lot of kids that sit on my blackjack tables. And they're in college. And I like to ask them, what are you going to school for? What are you studying? And a lot of times it's business, finance. If you're on the baccarat table, it's a lot of, or if it's the Minnesota Gophers, it's kinesiology. That's what they want to study, is sports medicine. But it's very few computer science kids. And I think I've had one computer science kid and one cybersecurity student in the last 5 years on my tables. And it just makes me sad, because here we have these 19, 20, 22-year-old people getting in trouble for hacking things when they could take that brain and do so much better with it. So I'm really hoping that 4 years allows him to pivot his mind and redirect his mind and think that there's got to be more to life than what just happened.
Yeah. Awesome.
Hey,
Thanks for
hey,
sharing that.
hey, Joe, would you give the podcast blessing for us to share other happy endings moving forward and maybe making it a segment in the podcast?
Really? You guys want more happy endings?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
what guy? That was a dumb question, huh? Yes, I'd be happy to.
Awesome.
I'd be honored to, actually, just to hang out with you guys. Yeah.
On the honors, it's reciprocal. I mean, I think
Yeah, it's mutual, Joe.
all of us, got as much or more from you than you may have gotten from us. It's there's
Just
so many
remember,
invaluable things that we learned.
every time you were listening to me, I was listening to you.
Dave, you are so instrumental in a lot of it. I took so much wisdom from you. I don't know if you remember this, but I know I told you my goal is to suck wisdom out of you, because I'm not getting any younger and I need to fast track this shit. So I need some wisdom. I need to learn from your shit, because otherwise I'm not going to be able to move fast enough. I
I
don't
don't
have
remember
time.
that.
I don't have
It's
time
awesome.
for that. And Evan, I read your book
Mm.
like the
Yeah.
first weekend that I worked at FR Secure. And I was like, yep, bam, that's it. You get to find as many people as you possibly can and help them.
Mhm.
So thank you
Awesome.
for that. That really helped. And
Absolutely.
I had a very dear friend of mine. She's become one of my mentors. She actually worked cybersecurity for Target. And she was just given your book. And we had just talked about it the other day because she was giving me my pep talk before I took the exam. And she goes, wow, I was just reading that. And I said, yeah, go ahead, read that. And so she messaged me last night and she goes, I can't put this book down. So just to give you that, I mean, I know your book has been around for a little while, but it's still relevant and it's
Yeah.
still helpful to other people. Yes.
That's
And
Well,
security.
thank you.
Unsecurity by Evan Francine. Copies are available. This one happens to be signed.
Wow. I'm going to bring mine
Thank
to
you.
get
I
signed.
signed it myself, but
It's
Thank you. And
signed.
I mean, that's another thing we need, right? Is encouragement. I think it's encouraging to hear that. Thank you. I'm working on the second version now. So that one was written in 2019. 6 years have passed. And so it's interesting to look at, have things gotten better over the last 6 years or have they gotten worse? And why have they gotten better or worse? So it'll be an interesting look at, and I think everybody has a book inside of them. Now, being that I went through the exercise myself, there's lots of people. Well, what will anybody find value in what I say? That's not so much what a book is for. A book is really about your own expression, your own artistic expression, getting it out of you. The audience for that book, as I struggled with that, the audience for that book ended up being me. I wrote that book for me, and I'm very happy to hear that other people find value because it helps to, uh, I think, justify me. You know what I mean? We need that sometimes. Like, okay, I'm not batshit crazy. Somebody else read it and they said it was good. All right, cool. So thank you for sharing that.
If that's the case, I'm happy to be batshit crazy with you, hence the basket case.
Let's
With the
let's
frame. On the
let's
frame.
all go batshit crazy and make the world a better place along the way. Let's do it.
Yeah.
amen.
And Jordan, who I called Josh for like 3 straight months. Don't
So
know
I'm going to
why.
introduce him on every podcast now.
Mhm.
Josh Darlington.
Y'all.
Yep. I love those videos. Oh my gosh. I just love them. I look forward to them. And yes, I've shared them.
Very kind.
Your
All right,
videos are
let's
kind of
wrap
a
this.
guilty pleasure.
Yes, let's wrap this up. Again, thank you for coming. You made this a great experience for me.
Thank you for
Any
having me.
ending words for you guys?
Thanks, Joe.
I
That was
just
a pleasure.
remember what Joe's perception was when we first talked about being on the podcast. And it was, what am I going to say? I'm going to be, with all the knowledge you guys have, what sort of value could I possibly bring? And just rewatch this and it's all there. And that's what we knew. And that's why we wanted you here. We appreciate you.
Yeah. Is it obvious to you the value you brought today? Are you clear on that?
I can't wait to watch this. My kids are going to be so proud.
Yeah.
All right, that's one
'Cause you
extra
brought a
view
ton
we're
of
going to
value.
get.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
boy.
One extra view.
All
Hey,
right.
I watch this thing all the time.
Awesome.
I
All right,
guess
that's a
it's
wrap.
not an extra view. It's the same view.
Well, thank you, everyone.